Subhanallah, 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 Subhanallah. Subhanaka Rabbi, Subhanak, Subhanaka ma a'zama shanak. سبحانك ربي سبحانك سبحانك ما أعظم شانك ندعوك ونرجو غفرانك ندعوك ونرجو غفرانك ربي سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحانك ربي سبحانك سبحانك ما أعظم شانك سبحانك ربي سبحانك سبحانك ما أعظم شانك ندعوك ونرجو غفرانك ندعوك ونرجو غفرانك ربي.
So we'll invite the next lecturer, who is a lady. She will speak from the women's angle. She will validate or invalidate what the two earlier speakers have said. Hajiya Mariam Nurudeen-Arole, please come to the podium.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is my voice clear? Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah amma ba'd. So, the second lecturer has said most of what I wanted to say. However, coming from a woman's perspective, I would like to share more. When a marriage turns polygynous, there are many sensitivity, bias, pain, emotions involved. However, when we remember that our marriage is an act of worship to Allah, it could help us manage the emotions as co-wives. Sometimes the first wife will be hostile, like our previous speaker said. Sometimes she might be welcoming. But in managing the co-wife relationship, it's important to make sure that whatever we're doing for Allah's sake, it will beautify our marriage, one, the future of our children, and also the generality of Islam. There are different ways to manage co-wife relationship. Sometimes you can have the cordiality, like sisters, friendship. You could have the no contact. I don't want to know about your wife, the other wife. Most times it comes for the initial wife. I don't want to know her. I don't want to hear about her. Then there is the option of someone saying, Orogun, adversary. I don't want to, even if they know each other, they are just filled with competitions, hostility, toxicity, and mere civility. There's also the mere civility. Let's just say hi, salam alaikum, wa alaikum salam. But whichever one you choose, I would recommend remembering that we have children. And our children are our future. Because sometimes, like the second speaker said, it's not just now. Not just now, but the future. So, I'll give you a story. So there's somebody that I know that lives around this Lekki, Hajiya area. The man was polygynous when he was alive. And after his death, due to, the kind of relationship that the wives had, they had issues with the inheritance. It goes deep into that factor. When you are not cordial, you don't respect each other. One day we just heard that the house was, maybe the bulldozer just came to destroy the house. There was one story that was going viral some months ago about a woman, a first wife. Her husband had died. She also sold the house and said she cannot let what she has labored for with her husband. But if there was a good co-wife relationship, which starts with healing, sometimes a man will marry 3 wives, 2 wives, and 20 years, the first wife is still hurting. She bleeds on the children bleeds on their half-siblings, and in turn, the relationship turns sour, and it destroys many things. It's not that women fear polygyny like we have all said. It it's the how, the why, the when could also determine whether it fosters the co-wife relationship or not. We have the best example of co-wives in the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, and where Prophet had about 13 wives in his lifetime. 9 survived him, and they had good relationships. Their examples are the best examples, because after Islam came, it limited polygyny to 4 wives. And the major thing is for us to be just, to have the fear of Allah. What are the challenges that occur in co-wife relationship? If you know one, jealousy. It's normal to be jealous. However, we should not soak in that jealousy and act on it. Jealousy can come with your emotions. I will discuss the challenges, then I will discuss the way to manage these challenges. Assumptions. We assume a lot. Whatever you don't see, you don't hear, don't assume. So, one of the things that could foster assumption is because everybody has, if you remember that everybody has their relationship with their husband. I always say there's a monogamy in your polygyny. And like I said, my husband, not our husband. So whatever secret they share in their rooms should remain theirs. Don't try to know. Mind your own business. If they share with you, barakallah. If they don't, mind their own business. That's one. 2, to avoid assumptions, and what can also compel or increase assumption is the living style. Sometimes we have the TLT and the TLS. TLT is team live together, and TLS is team live separately. Separately could also mean you are living within Lekki phase 1 year. Your husband can just visit at any time. And sometimes people like that part. And we have where someone is living in Nigeria, another person is living in Ikorodu. It all depends on the relationship, factors, maybe the work or career pattern of the family. So sometimes you assume a lot. In TLS, maybe your husband lives in one, your co-wife lives 2 houses away. You did not see him by 9 p.m., supposed to arrive by 9 p.m. He's not here. You start agitating. Maybe he's with my co-wife. You know, your emotions are hot. Jealousy comes in. You don't even have time to prepare for your husband to come home. Then you lose the serenity that comes with it. Then, in this assumption, you start to even, how will I say it? You start to lose yourself. You become insecure. You also are committing sort of a sin. In Surah Al-Hujurah, that we should not assume. Quran 49 said we should not assume what we do not see. So whatever they tell us, let's believe it. Another challenge is communication, lack of communication. But what will affect communication is usually if you don't know yourself. I believe that polygyny will make you know who you are. If you don't know before polygyny for initial wife, you begin to understand yourself. So sometimes, instead of while you are waiting or transiting, please seek self-awareness. Know who you are. What hurts me? Discover yourself and try to understand from your husband who your co-wife is. There should be no pressure. Our men will need to help us with this pressure. You know, start comparing 2 people together. I myself am a very strong person. I have strong personality. And my husband should now say, because my second wife is gentle, we should be in the same level, I should be more gentle. Sometimes being strong personality person does not mean the person is not submissive. You can't still be submissive. So we should not compare our wife. So it will help the co-wife relationship. Try to understand yourself. Try to put yourself in the shoes of your co-wife. Empathy, kindness. It will spill over on the children naturally. And even if you and your co-wife are having issues, please don't put the children in between. These children are young. They are very, very young. Emotions are also one of our challenges. But one thing that I've used with some of my coaches and people that I've worked with is, if you cannot talk about your emotions at first, and I learned it is that I wait till when I'm angry with my co-wife, I learn to be like, I'll just wait around somewhere, maybe do events to myself, write it out. By the time I'm better, if I want to tell her how I feel, it makes more sense. The person will not be defensive. And the person will know, I apologize. So people use another style of maybe you report to the person. Some women don't like you to report to your husband. They just assume that if you report to the husband, you are trying to destroy their relationship. And some people don't want to be accountable. They don't want you to tell you that you have done something wrong. So you need to learn communication skills to manage who you are dealing with. Third-party influences, this is the biggest war to coping with a co-wife. Tell your parents or your family positive things about your co-wife so that they will have that positive notion. Even if you want to share your problem, sometimes you can be in a toxic relationship, you might need to share. But make sure that it is very, very important before you share. Because sometimes people lose themselves. They will just break down and they will not share how they feel. They might be in a toxic environment. But beware of third party. Your mother is a third party in your polygamous relationship. Your father, son, they are also third party. It's better to seek professional help. Because they will fester so many things into your heart. You know your co-wife is someone that gets angry easily. Instead of telling somebody else or people that you don't trust, even if you want to have a third party, let people that are trustworthy, good Muslims, so that they don't tell you, hey, ile orogun, you know her, orogun ni o, gbodo jeun lodon yin o. Me, I will eat o. Anything that happens to me, Allah decreed. Learn to share gifts, all those things. If you are trying to share gifts and say, you're going to share gifts, they might be poisoning this thing. They start festering negative thoughts in your relationship. So you have to be careful. Another thing is unfairness on the part of the husband. But sometimes some of our women, we misconstrue what equality or equity means. Until polygyny happened, I did not know. I used to assume that equality is must have the same thing. No. It doesn't mean that you must have the same thing. In some houses, they don't eat Indomie. In another house, they eat Indomie. No, this is the best wife's food. That means that the cost of feeding in that house will be different when it's only swallow that they eat in another house. Even in one of my research, when I was doing my LLM, I did research on women's rights in the family law. As a woman, ordinarily, whether in monogamy, you should provide for your wife according to her own standards. Some school of thought are of that opinion. So in providing their standard of living, it might not seem like it looks equal at first. But knowing that, am I being fair? The man should know that, am I being fair with my wife? And sometimes, wife, if you feel like they are not equal, they are not doing the right thing, fairness, I believe that you should not raise false alarm before you assume. So it is part of this assumption that causes co-wife relationship issues. Sharing of time. Oh, you must come by 12 o'clock today. Maybe it comes by 12 o'clock. It is a natural challenge. It's a challenge. We don't know. There might be things that could be delaying him in the other house. It might even be have an appointment. Then we should not make our men tilt towards us and leave our wives hanging. On the day that he's not supposed to be in your house, that's the day you'll be calling him every hour. Your stomach. If you have health challenges, it's important. But it should not become a thing of, 4 a.m. in the morning, or even if you want to send text, that way you do this thing. You can't be calling him insistently, affecting his family life with his children. Children of polygyny also have emotions. They have emotions. Sometimes they want to have their father with them. Sometimes they will ask the questions, are you sure our father loves us? Because of the way you women or men act around yourself. Also, PDA. Normally, if you have a good self-esteem, you shouldn't be concerned if your husband is sitting next to your wife, your co-wife. But sometimes, at first, it's very hurtful for initial wives. But you'll be surprised that some subsequent wives might be more jealous than the initial wife. They do not know how they will feel. So I don't judge anybody. I don't judge subsequent wives that feel like they assume. That's where I'm going to go back to favorite wife. They don't feel like favorite wife. A good man that is fearing Allah in his dealing will not have a favorite wife. Fine. It might have, I believe that as a woman, have less expectation that you're not the favorite wife. Be good. Be a good wife. And in being a good wife, it will ensure and exude calmness, tranquility in your home. And by this way, you will not care whether he loves one person or another. If anybody say, people ask me, how do I feel if I'm not favorite? I don't care to be a favorite wife. But there's some days that you know that your man just essentially loves you today. So capitalize on those days and be happy. Days that is not tilting to you, you will use the one that happened 2 weeks ago to balance today. Lower your expectations, because sometimes you might be fighting with the other person and this might make him just withdraw from her. Expect the day that he will withdraw from you too. So the emotions will balance. Because if you are waiting for you to be the favorite wife and they want to marry me, he says his wife is bad, don't believe. Men hide on this adit of you can lie for love. So they will say you are the only sugar in my tea. When he has 2 wives, it's what cannot happen. When you are it's a man that has 2 wives, just believe it to feel good. But don't let it enter the core of your existence. Polygyny affects self-esteem, but it can also establish a good self-esteem of yourself. Today you are here, you have more time for yourself. While you are healing, then subsequently, please, when women are healing, they can do stupid things. Don't judge them by their emotions. Pray for them. While you are praying for them, we pray that Allah heals them and they can be the best person. Sometimes this hostility that they present at first can make or mar their relationship in future. So it might be like, I don't trust her. She almost poisoned me. She wanted to destroy my nikah, my party, You need to pray for them. When you are feeling sad, dua. I think dua it's very, very important. But you don't know how important it is until you are in a multi-party system. I call it multi-party system. Because you can't control you can only control your husband. You can't even control your husband anymore. There are some influences that comes with being married to more than one wife. Example, your husband said he doesn't eat eba all his life. Then tomorrow he wakes up and eating the eba. Please don't feel bad. That's just one of the influence that the woman would have on him. For initial wives, I'm scared of him going to stop loving me. A good man will not stop loving you. In fact, he might love you and appreciate you more. Additionally, this fear can make us start doubting ourselves. Remember that Allah has put tranquility between us. The subsequent wife too can have self-esteem issues of, I cannot meet up. I was told that I'm going to come and save the relationship, and you now realize that the relationship does not need any saving. They call it reverse transitioning. When you discover that the husband and wife are cordial, excellently in love with each other, you now feel like, where do I fit in? You would fit in. Build your own home. Build your own memories. And for initial wives, the consolation I give you is that I'm sorry, there might be non-Yoruba, but tomode balasho bi agba, ko le ni akisa bi agba. You've built your memories of over 10 years, 20 years, and we have matured women here. Polygyny can happen at any time. In your 50s, in your 60s. I have a retiree that married a 60-year-old third wife. So don't relax too much. That doesn't mean that you should not live your life. Enjoy your monogamy while it lasts. The death of your monogamy does not mean the death of your marriage. It's just a beginning of a new relationship. I also use it to think that maybe polygyny will come to help you. You feel like you don't want to have many children as a woman. I want to just have 3 kids and I will live on. But you will have extra kids from your husband in a good co-wife relationship. You can take over the children and say, I'll be taking care of them. You are now the new nanny as the initial wife. There's no problem about that. We can help each other. We need dua. Managing our relationship also is that we should have, like I said, we should fear Allah. We will fight. So the myth that men have about polygyny is that they must not fight. It's a lie. Because husband and wife have quarrel. They quarrel. We bicker as well. So it is normal for women. It's just normal that women quarrel. But the bias is what makes this fight or quarrel fester for long. What does she, something like this, gossiping, it will happen. But from today, make up in your mind and say, I will not gossip about my co-wife. When I have problem with her, I will talk to her and tell her. But please, it's not every issue you need to actually go to meet her. Some days you just leave some of those issues and say, I'll be the matured one. Initial wife can be a matured person. Subsequent wife can be a matured person. Some of the things that causes these challenges are baggages from our past. But what I tell people is that you need to build your own polygyny template. What is my template? I want to build a positive polygyny, a tranquil polygyny, a sister in my home, someone I can trust. When I'm in danger, she will be there for me. I've heard of cases where co-wives help each other, their husband is not around, and one of them steps in. Some of our sheikhs used to talk about that. They step in, but it all means that it's a triangular relationship. You need to support each other. Our men should support our women to make this relationship foster. Make sure that you are not being unfair. You're not placing unnecessary burden. So in your why, most times we say, why do you want to marry? If a man tells you that my first wife she's a career woman, she's a this, that's why I want to marry. Sometimes you would reach out and feel like after you get married with him, maybe I should also pursue a career. If it is not your thing, please don't bother. If you want to be a stay-at-home wife, continue. Then initial wife, okay, because you're a career woman, the man is giving the subsequent wife more money because she's staying at home. Don't feel bad. Your sustenance is that if you think that your sustenance from Allah, it will reduce your expectation and you will not be toxic about it. He must give me the same money that he has been giving me. Most times, women, initial wives feel sad. What have I done? I should have not contributed or supported him in his past. Allah had decreed that you will support him. If you want to stop supporting now, nobody will fight you. However, just renew your intention. Pray for your husband, pray for your co-wife, and treat your co-wife's children like yours. Because some of these problems and challenges and myths are what makes the relationship bad. And my father's wife poisoned my mother. That's why I don't want polygyny. When it happens, what will you do? Women have lost their mental health because of polygyny. Additionally, I cannot stay with my initial wife. I cannot even sit down in the same environment with her. And you will not let what has happened 50 years ago control what is happening in 2024. It will not help you. Because, remember, we can enjoy this. Marriage is a bliss. The Quran has said He has put in between us tranquility. This tranquility will even spread in polygyny. So, dear women, we should understand that assumption is not good. Managing our jealousy, respecting our husbands, we should not stop being women or wives because our husband remarried. Like the Sheikh said, he said, we can joke. They don't take what men say to heart. Your co-wife can cook very well. One of the best things to help your self-esteem you need is, I cannot cook, I can write. I cannot cook, my voice is nice. Talk to yourself, affirm to yourself every day. I'm the most beautiful woman in the world, even if he has 50 wives. You begin to exude goodness, exude good and positive self-thought of yourself. Most thing that happen in polygyny is that women have negative self-talk. They loathe themselves, self-loathing. I shouldn't have even done this. Maybe I've done something wrong. Then they now start acting somehow with their co-wife. So, if you remind yourself that this man, whatever comes to his mind today is because of love. When he moves to the next house, he will still say the same thing. So why let another gender affect the relationship with your gender? Are you with me? We should remember that we are Muslims. Then jealousy, we have stories of Aisha where she had, our mother Aisha, where she had been jealous, but she did not soak it in. Breaking of the dishes, or where there was a night that she was with the prophet and he went out and she was acting somehow. The prophet said, are you jealous? She said, yes. He said, that is your devil. Do I have a devil? Yes, we all have devil assigned to us. But we should not let this devil take over us. We should learn to forgive each other. If your daughter broke your plate, let's just be being human. If your daughter lost your money, I'm sure you will not kill her. But when it comes to polygyny, my co-wife, I will show her pepper. One way to work around this is that, what if it was your mother-in-law? How would you have treated your mother-in-law? Put it that way. And I think that sometimes in polygyny, if you treat yourself right as co-wives, it will help you in there will not be time for you to be fighting mother-in-law that is wicked anymore. Because they will assume that, so you should prove them wrong. There's no need to be proving anybody right. But at least, remember that if it was my mother, if it was my sister, if it was my friend, it will change our perspective about our co-wife relationship. Because most times, people let our bias affect us. No competition zone. Rivalry should be jettisoned. How do you build no competition zone? It's trying to identify the good things that you possess. Using that time that your husband is not around to not start thinking about what he's doing with the other wife. Do something positive. I've seen people pursue more degrees when their husband married another wife. They have more me time. At least they also have time to pursue their hobbies. Go out more often. It can be traumatizing. If you need to go for a vacation, so be it. Enjoy the time of being who you are. I always say my me time. Then remember that if your husband is not around, you can eat anything you like. So when you see all these opportunities, grab it so that you will be a beautiful woman that exudes positivity and respects the relationship with their co-wife. If you ask me, cordiality or at least civility has a good coping mechanism for co-wife relationship. Like I said, remembering that all this is an act of worship. Half of our deen. Polygyny is also half of our deen. It's marriage. You can use this time to build on having a friend in your co-wife. Then what if my co-wife does not want to be a friend? It's normal. I don't want to relate with you. Don't feel sad. It can be very, very emotional. Sometimes the initial wife is extending the olive hand, while the subsequent will say no. Or the subsequent will be like, let us relate, and no. The first will say, no, I don't want to be with you. But what you would do is leave everything to Allah. Make dua. Then in also understanding coping with your co-wife, you have to remember that your husband has 2 mother-in-laws now. 2 father-in-laws. Don't feel like because I'm the first wife, my father is number 1 in everything. You need to respect their in-law relationship. However, please, co-wives, don't use those times where your husband is supposed to, there might be family functions that will show up. This is where issues are. And our cultural bias actually affects this. Respect your co-wife's time, but sometimes don't hang on too much on our time, my time. They should be more focused on my duty rather than my right. Because I'm a lawyer. If we put too much on our right, the government is supposed to give us, government is do this, you would lose touch with fulfilling your own obligations. What can I do to be a good wife to my co-wife? Seeing your co-wife as your husband's representative in times of need. Some good co-wife, actually, after the man has died or even if they've divorced, they still have good relationship. Let us be sincere. In class, sincerity is not only to Allah, sincerity to our co-wives, to see them as our sisters. Like they said, nobody should be a slave of another person. How can you foster relationship? Sharing gifts, visiting each other as long as they want you to visit them. Finding time together to go out with the family. Wishing good for them. When they are sick, you visit them, you call them. Try to call each other. Maybe you can make it a weekly thing, monthly thing, or daily thing. It depends on your relationship. But please, sometimes some people don't want to. They just don't force your strong personality against them. The men should not force relationship out. They must wear the same clothes. When someone is wearing size 6, another person is wearing size 12, I must wear the same shoe. I don't wear heels now. Force me to go and wear heels because my co-wife likes heels. Food, we should not be inquiring into what's not our own. We should not be snooping. Yes. One of the ways to destroy co-wife relationship is just stopping your husband's phone. Your wife, if you see anything you see, you're on your own. Sometimes you do self-trauma. The moment you know that your husband has another wife, don't try to check what their text or their chat. You should respect boundaries. Whatever you see there, you are on your own. You cost it yourself. So how do you foster this relationship? Wish them well, like I said. Pray for them. And I pray that Allah helps us in our journey in polygyny. It is not easy. There will be temptations that are even worse than when you are in monogamy. Double temptations, double struggles, but you can make it the best experience in life. When I share polygyny stories on my WhatsApp or my Facebook, I was scared at one point that we are ashamed. We make polygyny a shameful thing. Somebody wrote on Facebook, is there anything wrong with you and your husband? We assume that something must be wrong with our spouse before we marry another wife. It's his decision. It's a permission from Allah. It doesn't have anything to do with yourself or your personality. So now you should see, how should I be the best wife on days that my husband is available with me? How can I foster good relationship in our marriage? I know it's not easy. It might sound like theory, but if we make up all these efforts, our marriage will be beautiful. Polygyny will not be written on you unless you tell them. When I tell people that I'm in polygyny, they'll be surprised. Because I'm not even the second wife, I'm the first wife. They'll be like, wow. Because you should not carry your problem on the road. Use those times that your husband is not there to do beautiful things instead of thinking about what he's doing with her. Maybe he's taking us out. Maybe he's not doing this. Live equality and equity. Make sure that what you are doing, you yourself, you are fair to your co-wife. You are not disturbing the relationship. You are not wishing them bad. If you wish them to be destroyed, once they are married, you cannot be praying for them to destroy the tie of kinship. It is a sin. But what can we do while we are waiting, while we are healing? Don't hold on to the thought of 20 years. My co-wife did this to me. In 50 years. Women, initial wives are mothers. I know many women that at 60 years old, they are waiting for their husband to die or be weak before they now start unleashing terror. And men, don't marry because, men just joke about this and they make banters. You cannot be too sure with one wife. If it is one wife that you're going to be just with, please do it. And a good wife will stay with you till death. As long as you have not used your youth to be doing nonsense. A supportive wife, even in polygyny, some wife will be competing to support you even at 60, 70. I cannot come and do a mugo because my husband is important. So, co-wives, women, mothers, siblings to co-wives or women in polygyny, please don't push them in more harm. If you remember that on the day of Yom Al-Qiyamah, we would account for our own contribution in destroying polygyny. We need to change our outlook about it. It is not a judgment. It is not a death sentence. It's just a journey in our life. I've seen and met women that said, this is what I want to be. They did not come and take nobody took your husband. They only came to marry their husband. The chair can contain both of us. The bench can contain all of us. But it all comes with sincerity, fear of Allah, dua, and support system. Please seek professional help if you feel like you are not coping. Don't let trauma, toxicity kill you. Because in the end, the man will marry another one. So, another thing is women also relax. He has married second wife, I cannot feel it. There is no one that will know. Even if he marries the fourth, the initial wife may sometimes feel it. And we should support subsequent wife that also receive another subsequent wife. Second wife, it sort of hurts more. And they don't get the support that we have. They'll be like, it's her turn now. No, you should support her as an initial. Don't make jest of her. Support her. Is it easy? No. But can we make it easy? Yes. We can pray for them, support them in their needs. You can visit them, you can go to their family functions too. You've had an extra sister, that's it. You can make her your best friend. You don't have to be best friend, but you can be best friend. It's hard. We need to start sharing positive stories. When we share positive stories, people will say we are lying. People will say we are pretending. People will say it's just... But you can see the two sheikhs saying they are proud of their wives. And we also are proud of our husband and our co-wives. Alhamdulillah, we have not heard of... we should not be seeing Muslim women on the road, on the street, fighting each other because of a man. A man that can just die suddenly. When people announce death these days, I fear for a man that has more than one wife. Because I feel like two generations, maybe young men, and there are two generations just like that. I pity them more than someone that has one wife, because I feel like she might still be able to move on. But it's not easy. May Allah spare our lives upon goodness, upon fear of Allah, and in worshipping Allah through our marriages. Women should also endeavor to normalize polygyny. Many young and mature women that are single, they don't want to take up polygyny. We are not preaching it, but sometimes it could be the solution that you need. If you have children that are in their 30s, and they see willing men that want to marry them, they are comfortable, they can afford it, please, preach. I know it sounds crazy, but coming from a woman, but in actual sense, we are helping the woman, we are helping the society, and in protecting the Muslim Ummah in general. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakumullah khair. We have heard from the horse's mouth. Women, I hope you are satisfied with our presentation. Women are